And all right, here we are. So this training is to give everybody an understanding of Foundant's multiple viewpoints, what applicant, oh, now it starts. Are you kidding me? I love how it takes like 30 seconds for it to actually start. So one more time. This training is to help people learn of the different viewpoints that Foundant offers for its applicants. These viewpoints can be activated by an admin like myself, and sometimes it can help people feel more organized when it comes to their applications, their submissions, and just overall understanding what has been submitted and what still needs to be looked at. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to start out in Sandbox, and if we need to go out a little further, then I will go onto the official Foundant on our official live site. So for Foundant, usually applicants have this dashboard. It says the applicant dashboard. It gives you these video tutorials, and then it gives you like your name and your organization, all that stuff. Then you would scroll down and you would see various applications, or in our case, we call them submissions, that you've worked on over the time you've had your account on Foundant. So I understand that this is how most applicants do see this, and it can get a little confusing after a while. Say you work for a larger organization where you guys have a lot of submissions, like you have 100, 200, maybe 300 submissions, and each person's maybe doing 50 or 60 within a week. That's a lot. So after you scroll through that many, this little blue link over here between edit and view, your eyes will start to like blur and not understand which word is which, especially when you're trying to quickly find what you're looking for. So this is as an applicant. And I'm going to quickly show you guys what me as an administrator would see if I'm looking at submissions. So I have a totally different dashboard, first of all. But when I look at submissions, I see submissions like this. So it tells me what form you guys used. So which submission form do we give you? Your organization, the name of the applicant, and the project name, which is the report title that you guys give us. And then finally, when you guys submitted it, and in the live site, it also shows me when it was last modified, meaning if I had to send it back for, say that something was missing and I asked you guys to update it, then it will tell me the original submission date and then the modification date, which means the date that you resubmitted it. So I see things like this. And in my personal opinion, I think this is a lot easier to look at, because then you can see exactly what is here. Coming from the applicant's point of view, applicants can have a similar version to what the admins see. It's not exact, but it is similar and you can filter it. And that is called the organization history view. Not every applicant has this ability, but you can talk with your crew and see if this is something you think would work with your crew and help them feel more organized. Having the organization history gives you the ability to not only look at the Foundant profile for your organization, but you can also look at all of the submissions you have done thus far since being able to use Foundant as your history log. So I only have 6 submissions here because our submissions would work differently. We are the administrative, so almost everything is staffing and admin. And so, but you see on the side here, I have some that say submitted and some that say draft. And this is the different way to understand, instead of looking for view application versus edit application, you're looking for, is this a draft or is it submitted? Is it completed? Has it been approved? Is it closed? That kind of thing. And it gives you a totally different understanding of where you're sitting with your submissions So if you ever get the question of, or if you ever have the question of, are we up to date? This is an easy way to figure out what months, or people could be missing applications. So it doesn't tell me who submitted the report or who started the report, but you can easily open it up and see who started it by clicking on this. So this view also and this view is usually pretty helpful. So I had to do this last time because when I tried to make a submission in Sandbox, it did not register that there was a submission. So I'm just going to do this like this. Danny, do you mind if I proxy as you in the live site? You're muted. Oh. Danny, you are muted, so I can't hear you. It's okay, it happens. Everybody does that from time to time.
Yes, I'm not in the system. Like my name is workforce
Your
development.
workforce, that's right.
Yes.
Your workforce development. I forgot
There
that
you
we
go.
had agreed that you were going to do that. So, for an example, this is what your screen normally looks like, which is what I showed you in Sandbox. If I were to give you access to the organization history, which I actually can do from here, so I will go back and I'm going to go to organizations. From my point of view, I'm going to show you what your view would look like if I were to give you that from your profile. So if we go to Edu Futuro, I'm going to open up. So this is something I can do from here. The pages have been acting really wonky lately. Foundant has been having some load time issues. So if I give, say, like you and Jorge, because Jorge is the primary contact, so he kind of has his hands in all the cookie jars.
Mm-hmm.
And then I proxy as you now. Now that you have this organization history access, it shows up on the top navigation bar here. If you click this, not only do you see this is like your EIN, all the information. Here, this is going to take a little bit. This is every submission anyone from Edu Futuro has made or worked on since the start of the ARPA program. So you can order things by date, you can order them by which report they were using, you can order them by status. And this is the fun part, because now you can see this says abandoned. These mean that they were given up, like they were saying, okay, I'm going to trash this draft. Maybe I'm going to start a different one with the same name because they got, for whatever reason, it's deleted. That's what abandoned means. So it's no longer being worked on. It's not being touched. Then you have application complete. This means you guys do not have to worry about it.
Okay.
It means that this has been approved by me or Cynthia, who is the other compliance associate. And you guys don't have to worry about if you guys have to go back and touch it. So then if we keep scrolling down, there should be, I'm actually just going to control find. There might be drafts. Here we go. So if we go like all the way down to almost a quarter of the, like 3/4 of the way down the page, you guys are starting to show application drafts. Drafts are the applications or submissions that you guys are currently working on, have in your system, and are not fully finished yet. For one reason or another. They could have been sent back, where like this one where it says we're missing these pieces of paper, can you please submit it to us? Or it's just not finished yet. And so you guys just need to work on it. But this gives you an idea of what still needs to be submitted in order for, and what still needs to be considered compliant. And this this can help people understand when they're like, how far along in the grant are we? This can help you guys understand, do we have any overdue paperwork that still needs to be submitted? And then I think you guys have some closed. So closed means that these are not being touched anymore at all. These are mostly just from the admin perspective. When we close it out, it is 100% approved. It cannot really be reverted back into, it can, but it's really hard to revert it back to a draft. So like if somebody comes up to me, like if say you were to email me and say, hey, I realized one of our client reports for X person is missing something. Can you give that back to me so I can make sure it's correct? I can easily go into application completes. And if it's in the application complete folder, I can push it back to draft. If it's closed, then I have to go through a couple extra steps. I could still do that, but it's a lot harder. So closed means I know that there's nothing that needs to be edited, that there's nothing that could be an issue. And so it's been officially pushed through to the absolute final phase of this does not have to be touched. You guys can also see if there's a follow-up due. So if somebody has to do their monthly report, then you guys can see, hey, there's still a follow-up that is needed or will need to be done. But usually that's handled by the main contact, like in your case, Jorge. So this view allows you to kind of organize things, and you can more easily search for the report name by using the control find or command find. If you guys use Mac, you can use that function, and that's what I did to find the different words of like draft, closed, and completed. So like if you wanted to find staffing, you can see that there's 22 instances where this shows up, and you can just like easily scroll through them and see where they are in the process. Like, are they drafted? Are they completed? Where is it? And so, granted, I gave this to you as an example to show you what it would look like from your end, but you're more than welcome to keep it. I do not have to take it off.
Please, please. I want to keep it. It's so important that you give me right now because I was just worried about it. Like,
Yes.
I tried to do the best for be all up and the right way, but we don't have in the view that I have, I don't have the exactly way to understand what it was.
Yeah, no, I get it.
With right now, I really appreciated that you did to me
Yes.
with that.
So, like, granted, I did it for the trial purpose, but I felt like you were going to need it because you are managing and helping with a big team of people. And so this is exactly why we sent it out to you guys. You guys have either a big team or you have multiple people listed under your organization. And this kind of helps to see what is where. And then if you click on something, like if I were to go down to application complete here and just click on Liad for an example, then I could also see this is submitted by Edu Futuro. If I were to open it and just hit the little view button, you can see which person uploaded it, which is Jessica in this case. So it's like if you notice somebody has a lot of drafts, then you could be like, hey, what can we do to get these drafts pushed out faster? And you can access this history from the top, or from the navigation bar of your application dashboard. And so you always have to go through it this way, which means you have to use this button, but it's always there for you now. And you can also see everybody in your team. So like if you're like me and sometimes you forget whose email is what, then you can easily go to this, and if you know they're working on ARPA, then here you go. You can find exactly who's where.
Actually, I have a doubt in that way, Win. Is a couple of person there that they leave the organization, and it's a
Yes.
couple more that are added right now. In what way I can update this information then?
So you cannot update this information. That's up to the admins. And I can list those people as inactive. We just haven't gotten around to doing that. So one of the reasons why is that sometimes these people work on applications. So if they work on submissions and they never got submitted, then once we make that person inactive, if they didn't share that application with somebody, then that application is now, it's kind of lost, and you can't, nobody else but that person could access it.
Okay.
Which actually is a good segue into the next thing I wanted to show you guys. So I'm going to go back. And so I'm listed as just the compliance associate. I'm not the compliance admin like Cynthia. So Cynthia has a little bit more access to some of our files than I do. And that's totally fine. I totally get it. But if I needed just to access something that I don't have access to, and I don't want to wait for an email from somebody, there's this fun little button up here in the upper right-hand corner called Collaborate. So you can collaborate with other members of your organization on your submission. You have to do this every time you open a submission, but nonetheless, it does work. And so you could type in, like, say I wanted Cynthia to help me with this. This is technically a dummy, but so it's like, please help me with this submission, with this practice submission. Because for me, Sandbox is a playground. It's not real. Like, it operates just like the live site, but it's not tracked like the live site. So then I just type my name in there, and you can give them permission. You can be like, okay, you can view this. Can you make sure that everything looks good? You can tell them that they can edit it, or you can give them permission, full permission, and tell them, hey, I'm going to be gone for a few days. Can you make sure that these get submitted? And so then you can hit this can submit permission. And then once I do that, I can say, if I were to have a long weekend and Cynthia was working a day that I wasn't working, Cynthia could submit that for me. And then I wouldn't have to worry about it. So that's a fun thing you guys can do, and you don't need this extra organization history to do so. But it's something that you guys can utilize within Foundant, and it'll give you access to things that maybe couldn't have been accessed before. And it really helps to encourage that, like, let's work together and figure this out kind of mentality. So do we have any questions so far, or am I talking too fast? Is there anything we want to see?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay.
One
So-
question, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so are you able to sort submissions by the person that submitted them, or that's just a general?
Am I able to what?
To search, let's say, my team Chante submitted.
Mhm.
There are two people submitting, and I say I want to see what Chante has submitted. Can I do a retrieval like that to see what she's done, or everybody shows together on the list?
Let me see, because as far as I know, this is the only way that it is shown, where it doesn't show me who it is. And it might be that you'll have to open it up and see who did it.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering if
No, it's okay.
where
I
to sort
haven't
them out.
been able to figure out if there's a way to turn it into who did what. And I think that's really something only the admins see, is which person worked on it. Which kind of sucks, because quite frankly, it would be great if you guys could also see who worked on it. But I don't have like a little edit button here to say, like, you know, who did what. If I find a way to make that happen, I will definitely let you guys know. But right now, it doesn't seem like there is a way to do that, but I will definitely do some research and, you know, play around and Foundant and see if there's a way to make that happen. And I'll let you guys know if I find anything. Do we have any more questions or comments? Is this something that because I know Christian has been a little quiet. Is this something that you think would be useful for you?
Yes, it would definitely be useful for our team.
Yes.
I think you've done a good job so far explaining just the whole thing in general, so I don't really have any questions at this point.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. So I'll make sure that I give your team this kind of access as well. I'll give it to like you and Janae and CJ. You guys are 3 people, so it's like really small.
Well,
Danny.
yes, I have one more question. Is
Yes.
more is about the context again. And I need to add the 2 new persons on my organization that are going to work with ARPA.
Okay.
One of them is Victoria. Victoria changed. We are doing in the organization the same as we do. That workforce development is the area email, the department area, and she changed her email in the same way, and eventually everybody in Edu Futuro going to do the same. She's the DOP, the director of the program. That's going to be her new email, and she tried to change in every single portal that we manage. The way that made this is sent email to you. How can I do this?
So actually you can tell me what email address need to be changed, but we'll do that after we stop recording, so that way we're not giving away any super private information. But yeah, if you guys need to change your email address, you guys should be able to do that from your own profile. So it's like I can go here, edit my profile up in the upper right hand corner. And so like mine has my name, this is my job title, compliance associate. I actually need to change this to have my work phone number on it because I was using my cell phone for a little while. And then postal code's actually this. And so you can actually change the username, like your email or username, aka your email. You can change it right here, and then you'd be able to hit save.
And another case that one of the person leave and I don't got her ARPA information to get in, and it's a new person that going to assume the role. In that case, it's an added new person.
Yes, I can add them for you, and then you just give me their email, and I'll give them their login information. And so what it is I can make their account for you. I will give them like a temporary password, and then the temporary password, once they type it in, Foundant will prompt them saying, hey, you need to make a new password for yourself, and then they'll be able to access the system.
Excellent.
All right. So is that everything for you today?
Yep.
All righty. So I'm actually going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop recording. So just to recap, we went over the alternative view of Foundant to show a better organization system and an easier way to keep track of our submissions. Then we also answered some questions about how do I use the contacts, what if people need to leave or change their email addresses. And we also covered the collaboration button, which is to encourage interperson work in Foundant, and it's Foundant's way of encouraging teams to work together. So I'm going to hit stop, and